I told you this guy's a genius.
Self-proclaimed, maybe.
Well, as long as it works for him.
Exactly my point.
Awesome.
Okay. This is green tea, it's all long tea, and that's what's been used in the war. That's what I've been told. It's been used in the war of the Chinese, I think, and they managed to, they had an advantage because they didn't sleep. But if you just drink a lot of coffee or tea because you think, I don't want to sleep, you're going to basically waste your time on playing computer games or, I don't know, just hating yourself or the world. So what you need is a purpose. And if your purpose isn't war, because there is no war to fight, you don't have to stay awake to face off enemies or to survive the night, right? You're just gonna be at home on your couch and then you're gonna be awake. So what do? Watch movies probably. So what's the point? So you need a purpose in order for staying awake to make sense. And that's not just staying awake in a, I'm drinking tea and I'm awake. It's like conscious awakeness. Conscious awakeness, that your consciousness stays awake. And by eating, I cannot say that, eating gluten really has an effect on me. It's just that sometimes I really also need to sleep in order to be awake again. But it takes more to be awake than to just open your eyes. I mean, you really have to look, learn to look at everything. Sometimes we have a very left-sided approach to things, and sometimes we have a very right-sided approach to things, right? You can think really soft about someone, oh, I love you so much, or you can be like, I hate you. Right side is the more masculine, the male, I charge into this, and the left side is more like the, it's like, a rose also has thorns. And trees can also build toxins, which means you have to know how to defend yourself, which is why if you're gonna get strong, I didn't take lessons, I didn't do this, but I realized how I'm gonna get better at it. I don't want to fight people, but I think the practice of also, you've got how they call it taijutsu, and then you've got ninjutsu. I think there's a point to it. That's what they do in Naruto. Ninjutsu is then, if you can manipulate energy into, you can manipulate the outside world. And then there's taijutsu, where you manipulate the forces in your body, I would say. Because you have to, in a way, manipulate things. I realize sometimes I have conversations with people and I am quite manipulative. If somebody has an annoying approach to life, but I seem to have a certain connection with them, I just start correcting it because it annoys me. If you're too stuck on feeling that you know what's going on, then I have to inform you that, I also think I know what's going on. But that doesn't help. What helps is acknowledging that sometimes you get together and it's not about you necessarily telling the other person, what's going on, but it's actually about you telling yourself what's going on. Because often I have, if you allow each other in a conversation to talk like this, then I have realizations and you have realizations. But that only works if we're on kind of equal terms, right? So you can sort out your shit because you can speak truth in my face. And I can sort out my shit by speaking truth in your face. But at the same time, we're just sorting out each other's shit. I give you shit, you give me shit. And then we give each other sometimes also knowledge, because sometimes we hold on to knowledge until somebody comes that is worthy of receiving it or that can hear it. It's like these certain cues or these certain important steps that you took in your life that led to a deeper insight. If somebody is not ready to hear it, he cannot stand being in your presence for too long because you're going to outshine him. And then you think, well, I seem to be the brightest bulb around. And then you meet other people and, they think they're the brightest bulb around. And then you show them a little how bright your bulb is. And then they suddenly don't feel so bright anymore. And that means they have to work hard. And then they work hard. And the next time we meet, I think I'm the brightest bulb in the room. And then they suddenly pick up speed. And suddenly it's like... And that's when it starts to get interesting. In a marriage, in a friendship, in whatever endeavor, that can happen with your work, right? Maybe you've been given a task from life, such as show yourself to the world, show what you can do. That's basically what my mission is. I always wanted attention. Now I found a way to get it. By just working continuously, through times where you feel tired or you want to be dead or whatever, you just work through it. You just let go of these emotions. I just lumped it onto other people as well. I just said, it's them, it's their emotions, it's not my fear, and that helped me to deal with it because it is possible that I can deal with emotions from other people, right? Sometimes I feel such, an incredible drive to do something so stupid, and then I realize, wow, I think it's really that person's fear, because why would I want to do this? And this is how people can drive you to cheat on them, simply because they give such power to manifesting it. If you direct your mind towards my partner's going to cheat on me, and you keep doing it you're always right in their face as soon as they talk to someone, that's what jealousy does. You can drive someone to cheat on you just to get rid of you. Oh, fuck it, if you really want me to cheat on you, I'm just gonna cheat on you. And of course, this does not have to be a conscious process. The person then wakes up and thinks, why have I done that? Well, because... Well, why? Your partner was driving you away. Was driving you away with jealousy and all that kind of stuff. And so you just went somewhere else. That's a clear message. Maybe you just couldn't say it any other way. But I have refused to eat the food of a woman where I knew she had cheated on her husband. If it would have come from someone else, I would have eaten it. But I judged it and I said, I do not want this energy in my life. And that's probably quite hard coming from a guy who also had sex with women that were in relationships. But I always thought, well, I didn't cheat. In that sense, I felt like I didn't cheat because why? You could say you cheated someone else, but, if they were dishonest about their relationship, I thought, what's it to me? If that guy can't hold the woman, then he's better off without her because she's apparently too much for him. Or these women were just weak because, they spend couple of weeks somewhere in the savannah, and that's what life there was like. I was just spending, I also had to do my research. But what I did was, I just spent time in the African nature. I spent time there with monkeys, Not always, but I had a few days where I spent really like 10 or 12 hours with them. And that's weird. That was the first time I experienced silence, because there was nobody to talk to. You couldn't listen to music because you still had to be aware of your surroundings, because there were snakes, 4-meter pythons. And when you were along the river, there were crocodiles big enough to eat you, 4.5 meters. And there were scorpions. You know, one came out of my sink as I was brushing my teeth. And I spat. You know, you can look at these posts. My Tumblr blog is called Africa, Afrika. Because the German word for monkey is Affe, with a double F, Affe. And so you have Africa. It was originally a German blog, but I switched to English fairly quickly. And I have a deep love for the English language. For whatever reason, I enjoy speaking this language. I can't speak German and I will speak German, but I just like the idea that so many people can understand what I have to say. You know, that's like, you could call this ego now, but it's actually not true. I just want to reach as many people as possible. So how's that ego? I'm basically dissolving myself. And then people come and say, yeah, you've got a big ego. No, man, I'm just honest about what I do. I just wrote a 500-page book. I mean, I wrote that already. And that's not all of it. You know, that's all the Medium articles. You know, all the shit that got banned. And I just put it into a book. And that's just the first 100 articles. You know, some of them are on my website. You can, you know, basically all the poems went in there. It's not just articles. It's short stories. It's just monologues, rants, the way I call it. It's poems. It's just songs. It's, yeah. It's all that kind of, sometimes it's parts from my other books. And I just put that into this first volume, Crazy Wisdom #1. It's just called Crazy Wisdom. The second one is going to be #2. I'm going to check how I'm going to do it. And you know, that's what I also have to motivate myself to, because I still have 317 or 16 articles that I have to put into other books. And so how can I be sorry that Medium banned me? Because first of all, having had Medium for a while motivated me to write articles in an article form. And that's what I probably will continue to do occasionally, where I just start writing articles. Just keep writing. And yeah, publishing them, of course, is nice because you can directly get off on people liking what you do. But yeah, something that came up when I made this image, because there's a dog and the dog got a beard, and I realized how some people are really disgusted by my beard. Like, to them it looks disgusting that I have face in my hair. It's really true. They think it's unhygienic. You know, but that's coming from people who shave their armpits and their pubic hair. But there's a reason that there's hair. And I feel often unclean because of my beard. I don't know, also, sometimes it just itches. And I'm not sure if that, you know, I am a little bit dirty. I mean, I don't use soap, if you will. I don't brush my teeth. I do floss sometimes. And I chew on cloves. Dried cloves. Like a spice, right? For my mouth hygiene. Probably not often enough. I sometimes do feel like there's breath coming out of my stomach, but is it disgusting? I don't know. I haven't kissed anyone lately. You know, I can't say. But I feel alright. I mean, I would prefer, honestly, I think, at one point I'm going to eat less stuff. I know I will manage somehow, but at the moment it also really helps me. I mean, I ate a whole lot of stuff. I mean, I have this dried white bread and I just put butter and fig jam on top. And then I put fig jam and coconut cream on top. And just ate that. Like lots of it. And then I smoked the rest of that doobie and suddenly I'm here recording. And I don't know how else I would have gotten here. I mean, I spent the whole night, I don't know until when, making art. And that's the part of the story that I was holding on to. I actually found it. I went to a friend, we talked. Actually, I was quite desperate. I wanted to go there to ask him if he has some MDMA for me. And then we just had a nice 1 or 2 hour conversation maybe. It was a nice exchange, really nice, like deep stuff. You cannot get there with a lot of people. That was like really deep shit. But we really worked out some things, and that's sometimes it's nice, right? You don't have that often with anyone. But with some people you can really get deeper and better at knowing each other and trusting each other. But that's why someone has to say, okay, what's going on, right? And then you get there. But just never shout, right? You have to, if you're angry, you just have to sit there like a boulder. Because anger is just something that's there, right? You're just giving it all up, if you know what I mean. And that takes a lot of strength of character and of mind, which is why if you do these things and you learn to hold your own energy in your room, keep it clean but comfortable. I don't have to make my bed all the time or every day. I like to go back to bed. And then you can just stay like this. And that's also something, right? If you like to go back to bed, it's going to be nice to be with a partner. But if you think being in bed is a waste of time, but also, of course, it has to be a woman that you would also like being in bed with. If you can't stand her, what's the point? What's the point? So there has to be some form of communication in the spirit. Then it's a good one. But how would you know, right? Well, by not just jumping into it, but to just take your time. If you meet each other and it's really nice and you realize, I think that's it, and you have the feeling the other person feels the same way, but they don't say it, that's a really fickle thing. But you just have to trust your feeling on these things, because nobody can tell you. Because there's no general rule like this works, that works. Sometimes differences are good and sometimes differences are bad. I mean, if you just want to eat meat, but I want to eat basically vegan, vegetarian, and if you don't give a shit about, how your body looks like, and, I do care about this a little. I like, if I get too fat, I'll eat less, right? I just eat less sugar and carbohydrates. That's the goal, the mission, that's the challenge, to try to eat more ketogenic. And on the long run, at one point you basically would not need any of this stuff anymore. But the problem is, I feel like if I get too holy, because that's what would happen if I would be really like only plant-based, really straight edge, my art would become like different. I like being a little bit dark, so I drink not just green tea, I drink black tea a lot with ginger and spices, like this earth grounding spices, nutmeg, cinnamon, maybe coriander, but also soothing, right? Sweet wood is a little bit soothing. Grounding is also soothing. But I also need a lot of fire, so sugar helps me to keep the engine running, and tobacco helps me to work with my shadow, because often what hinders me or what pulls me down is just the sheer weight of emotions that I have to carry. Because I meet a lot of people that are really afraid, that are really angry, and when I'm in their presence, they're gonna dump it all onto me. And I just have to be like, why do you have to do that for? So sometimes you're all like, right, you have to really face someone. But most people, they're just afraid. So why would you go around punching people if you realize, come on, you let fear in your heart, now you're angry. Yeah. And I just worked hard, and now I'm just like, okay, I often sit like this, but I'm like, but you don't want to get, if it gets too much to your head, you're gonna run around like that. Nothing can happen. No, you always have to be open. I mean, how nice is that? It feels relieving up here. So also doing, I'm not sure what's good, to be honest. I'm just doing what I feel like. I'm just trying to get flexibility into my lower back, because it just feels too stiff. But I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do. I just do what feels good. And if something feels bad, I have to move it. Or I have to just massage it. But back there, I cannot do very much. But what I realized also is, movement is good, but building up strength is even better. So, right, you can do this. You can also do this. I don't know. If you just keep going, you will learn what's good for you. This is one of the best exercises for me. Now I can see I'm eating sugar, but I also don't mind. I mean, I don't have to be super skinny. No, because we do live in cocaine. Cocaine with a Cockaigne. That's the land of milk and honey. And whether you want to see it or not, but it's there. Now you just have to choose, right? Because you can also drown in it. And that actually got inspired by a song from Miley Cyrus. Yeah, she certainly looks too skinny. It's what happens if you fall out of love. And there's nobody that can feed you, I think. I feed myself. So I just experiment also. Try to find out. Right. I've never seen anyone do this. But I just want to... I don't think it's bad if you can move in all directions. Because if I don't do like to the left or to the right, I want to be flexible. And if this hurts, now I can stretch into it, right? So I just let myself fall into this. But because I've got strength, I can, I don't just bend over, right? I can ease into it. And I cannot look at a manual or something. This looks a bit weird, but it doesn't matter. So now this is hard on my knees as well. But I often have trouble with my knees, so I think they also need a bit of flexibility. Right, and then you can go slowly to the middle. It's the first time I'm doing it like this. I just never had the patience. Oh wow. Now you have to just... This has to be at the right angle. This... You're seeing I'm laying on my right shoulder blade. And my right, like this, is bent forward. So that I'm laying on my hip bone, basically. But this falls to the left, which is why it creates... I'm stretching the right side of my lower back right now. And that's just something that I get to... It gets less now. And then I can apply more pressure here again. If I put this more down, like this, it's less. If I press down here, like I can reapply pressure. Okay, now it's stretching again. Right side, lower back. So I did not read books. I have a book about Ashtanga Yoga. I looked through it a couple of times and I realized it doesn't work for me. I have to figure it out for myself. Now I can try it out. So what do? Now you're like this, right? So you also learn to relax into the ground. You're like this, and then you let your left leg fall. This is basically it. You just let it fall into it. And then you can, right? Now I'm just laying like this. Then I press down here. And suddenly, this is a natural position. But what you also have to understand is that I have a lot of muscles, I have a lot of strength, which is why if your tendons and sinews and stuff is well connected, and you press down here, whoosh, so you also need to put in the work. It's not just about lying here and doing this, because you can also be too flexible and too soft, which is then why if you're too soft and too flexible, you need to do some hardening, like this. Now that's gonna hurt maybe. And if it hurts, you don't want to break your arm. You just do this. And that's massage. And you can do that while you're watching a movie. You can even do that. Like you can walk like this through the city. I mean, just be careful because people might see it as a threat. You don't want to be too ridiculous about being a warrior these days. Because there are some people who will think, yeah, I'm going to fight you. So if I walk somewhere and there's nobody, I'll just do these things. Like this just also helps to increase, and this is also a way, but I have a problem because it's too loud. If I do this, people hear it, I feel awkward. Wow. See, now my right knee actually hurts. And I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Okay. So you just become a little bit less sensitive, which may also even help with, I don't know, thinking you're a man or thinking you're a woman, right? You just have to toughen up a little. Because if you're too soft, you just become other people's suckers. I mean, transgender is just one ideology of people that are insecure. So I give people stability just by showing, that's how I can be as a man. And if you have a problem with this, can't help it. Plus, I don't want to convince anyone. I already know it. It's just so obvious. So who am I fighting, right? And if you're hiding in the shadows, then you're clearly not a lion that is worth his salt. Like if you have to get angry on the internet and leave angry comments for people, I mean, why am I supposed to talk to you? You'll sort it out. And that's why I just disable my comments. This is also nice, by the way. And this may be better actually. Yeah, both is good. The one is for the adamant hardening, for anyone who knows Attack on Titan. I think it's called Adamant. No, actually that's not it. Adamant. Wasn't that X-Men? Yeah, it's all the same thing. So this is also how you take care of your body, right? Because if it hurts, that's why hitting may just make you realize, okay, it actually hurts there. And then you soften it up a little. And for that you also need strength. You realize it? Like this takes strength. This is actually actively training my body. Wow. And of course going into nature, hiking, doing barefoot stuff, trying to jump on things, right? Seeing how high you can jump, training to jump higher, finding out, what's the highest you can jump now, and then just jump on it 10 times. I'm gonna do stuff like this again. Because for a while now I've just been walking around, but I also really want to do stuff, like really nice things, like walk around, jump. If I'm just going for hikes, I also get kind of bored. So I just like to introduce change, right? If I've hiked for a while now, then I'm maybe gonna go to the stone mining site again, which is closed now. Wow, yeah. You can just see this as, I don't know what. I mean, pain can also be exhilarating in a way, which is why some people like it if you spank them. It activates them. But it's not just about, not as, I don't know, I've never done it. Maybe there's something to it, but not forceful, I don't like. How hard do you have to get off? I don't want to strangle you. Maybe spanking could be nice, but I like to be gentle. I just like to be gentle, but firm, right? It's like, because there's also a lot of trust. You know, if I spank you, it's like hurting you. I mean, I don't really, maybe it can be nice sometimes if it's playful, but maybe if somebody also just likes it, I don't know. Because it does also activate certain meridians. I think it has to do with shame. And there's a question whether it can actually work out shame and relieve shame, because this is the area of the root chakra, and if you slap the butt in a sexy kind of way, you know, still like, you know, I don't know, there's something revealing about this. But it's not just about spanking, I hurt you, it's about, now I feel good. I feel good now. I feel relaxed, I feel clear, I feel like this is what you do also at the end of yoga. Or the way they sometimes do it, you know, you let yourself fall. And then they always do it, you know, you first let this thing fall, and then you first let your right hand fall. I think, just let yourself fall, man. You just try to sink into the carpet. I mean, I'm laying on pretty hard ground. I don't need a yoga mattress. That's the extra challenge. I don't like things like, I don't like gimmicks. That certainly is the extra challenge. To just let yourself fall into the abyss. It's so weird when you live your life like this, and above you or around you are people who just listen to the radio or listen to, I mean, I'm not always like this. I also listen to mostly Chris Webby at the moment, because I really like him. But what I miss sometimes, there's not a lot of depth to it, which is okay. I've got the depth. There is depth in his stuff, but not like the spiritual, I'm seeking enlightenment kind of. It's more like the, you know, hard truth, you know, you gotta fucking do it. And the truth is also actually, it's not that he just says, you know, yeah, I'm the best. It's just like, he just acknowledges himself. But yeah, the raspy voice can also get too far. But if that's what you want to do, watching clouds is also really nice. If you're still looking for movies to watch, The Last Unicorn from somewhere in the 1960 or something. The Last Unicorn, it's a cartoon. Yeah, Watership Down. Caroline. Wow. Yeah, I always like to refer people to Nightmare Alley, Donnie Darko. Well, people have hyped The Big Lebowski, but to be honest, I didn't see much into this. It didn't really interest me. Probably the movie is about being relaxed. And so Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I feel like, to me, it's pretty pointless. But I liked movies also like Liar Liar, Ace Ventura, The Mask. I mean, Jim Carrey's a classic, but The Cable Guy, The Truman Show. I mean, that's just an overload. Soul Eater. I mean, anybody who watches anime, Soul Eater, watch it. And I'm the guy in the basement, you know what I mean? You know, I'm the guy in the basement. Sometimes, when I do my art, then I'm like this, and then I come out and I'm like, bam. I'm the toughest weapon. But also not, right? I'm not the guy. I mean, in these times you have to learn to be a peaceful warrior. Because there is no, you know, I'm running with my axe and I'm just gonna cut your face clean off. These times are over. It's gonna be very hard to bring that about because the system is, in that sense, pretty safe. And even the police, you know, a large majority wants peace. Wants peace. And that's why you also have to be strong, because if you're weak and you give in to violence, then they have a reason to attack you. You have to remain peaceful at all times. So no matter what happens, you just know, you know, you will never give in to violence. Because people can trigger you. What do you do if somebody hits you or sprays mace in your face? So what? Train with sananga. You know what sananga is? It's like a liquid. I don't know from what it is. And you pour it in your eyes. After you've done the first eye, it's almost impossible to do the second one. And it cleanses your retina. That can actually help if you have like bad eyesight. And it cleanses your retina. It's like pouring. It's a bit like rapé maybe, but without the. It's really tough. It's tough. Well, that can give you an idea how sananga is like. Well, what do you do? How a maze is like? Well, you just have to sit. Nah, what did you have to do that for? Was that really necessary? Do I look... So they're gonna test you. You know, wait, he seems so peaceful. You know, how peaceful are you now? Damn it. Now I can't see. How long is that gonna take? If you can react like this in a situation like that, then you know you can do it. And at this stage, I could do it. I don't want to test it. I mean, maybe it would actually cleanse my eyes. You know, that can really clear you out. Because you know it's not making you blind, right? So you just take the opportunity, okay, apparently it's a stress relief. You know, I was really angry. You hit me with mace in the face. Now I can let go of my pain and my anger and can cry it all out. That's how you deal with life. You realize that, oh shit, I was in a really bad state. I mean, somebody actually mazed me. No. How far off was I to bring this about for myself? I created this through my behavior because I was just projecting my shit onto people. That's the approach. Instead of just saying, you mazed me, you say, all right, I mazed myself. You know, I was pushing people so far that at one point somebody felt the need to do something about it. That's what I did. And then I riled back. Right, I riled back for good reason. Because I said, I want to live. I want to live now. I want to live. I want to live now. So let me live.